The bright Martian sun cast long shadows across the dusty red excavation site as Samantha Collins carefully brushed away centuries of dust from what appeared to be a stone tablet. The archaeological dig had been active for 3 months now, but this was the first significant find that might justify the billions spent on the expedition. "Alan, come look at this," she called, her voice barely containing her excitement. Alan Wright, the team's linguist, hurried over from his workstation. His eyes widened as he saw the intricate symbols etched into the dark surface. "Is that what—" "I think it is," he asked, kneeling beside her. Samantha nodded. "Definitely not human in origin. These markings couldn't have been made by any known Earth civilization." She ran her gloved finger along the edge of the tablet. "And according to our dating equipment, this predates human civilization by at least 50,000 years. Alan carefully photographed the tablet from multiple angles. The symbols share similarities with fragments found on Europa and Titan, but this is the most complete example we've found. Over the next few days, more artifacts emerged from the Martian soil. The team uncovered what appeared to be an ancient chamber buried beneath the surface. Inside, they found walls covered with the same mysterious writing. Back at the Mars research base, Alan worked tirelessly with the AI translation systems. After 2 weeks of minimal sleep and maximum caffeine, he burst into Samantha's lab. Got it," he shouted, waving his tablet. "The translation isn't perfect, but I've deciphered enough to understand the main message." Samantha looked up from her microscope. "Tell me." "It's some kind of prophecy or warning," Alan said, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. "It speaks of a final war that will engulf the galaxy. A conflict that has been foretold by many civilizations." "Another doomsday prediction?" Samantha sighed. "Every ancient civilization seems to have one." "This is different," Alan insisted. "The specificity is unlike anything I've seen before. And look at this." He showed her a detailed star map etched into one of the artifacts. "These are accurate positions of stars thousands of light years away. Whoever left this had technology far beyond what we currently possess." 3 days later, their discovery became insignificant compared to what happened next. The first alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Global panic ensued until the visitors broadcast a message of peace in perfect English and every other human language simultaneously. They called themselves the Galactic Council, a federation of over 300 species spanning the Milky Way. Their arrival had been prompted by the activation of what they called an ancient beacon on Mars, the very site Samantha and Alan had been excavating. Captain Eric Daniels of the North American Space Force was among the first humans to board the Council's diplomatic vessel. Alongside him was Lisa Martinez, one of Earth's most respected diplomats. Both had been hastily selected to represent humanity in this historic first contact. The Council representative, a tall, slender being named Zarthal, greeted them in the docking bay. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that reminded Eric of mother of pearl. "We welcome Earth to the galactic community," Zarthal said. "Your discovery of the ancient beacon signals your readiness to join us." Over the next few hours, Zarthal explained that nearly every intelligent species in the Council had similar prophecies about an apocalyptic conflict that would someday engulf the galaxy. These prophecies had been found on thousands of worlds, apparently left by a highly advanced civilization that had disappeared millions of years ago. "We have spent millennia preparing for this foretold conflict," Zarthal said. "Now that you have activated the beacon, we offer Earth membership in the Council and our protection." Back on Earth, world leaders debated the offer. Most saw it as an unprecedented opportunity, a chance to leap forward technologically and join a peaceful, galactic community. Major William Foster was among the few who counseled caution. As a military strategist for the Global Defense Initiative, he had been tasked with analyzing the potential threats this new relationship might pose. "Something doesn't add up," he told the emergency session of the United Nations. "They're offering too much in exchange for too little. Advanced technology, interstellar travel capabilities, medical breakthroughs, all for simply joining their council?" His concerns were largely dismissed as paranoia. 3 weeks after first contact, Earth officially accepted membership in the HFY Galactic Council. The celebration was worldwide. Humanity had finally confirmed they were not alone in the universe, and their new neighbors seemed peaceful and generous. The Council immediately began sharing technology that solved Earth's energy crisis and cured several previously incurable diseases. While the world celebrated, Foster continued his investigation. He obtained copies of the original Martian artifacts and hired independent linguists to verify Alan Wright's translations. One evening, as Samantha was preparing to leave for a new assignment as Earth's archaeological liaison to the Council, she received an urgent message from Foster. "I need to see you immediately," it read. "It's about the translation." They met at a small coffee shop near the newly established Council embassy in New York. "The final line of the prophecy," Foster said without preamble. "It was mistranslated." Samantha frowned. "Alan is the best linguist we have. If he says, not intentionally mistranslated," Foster clarified. "The Council provided certain reference materials that influenced how our computers interpreted the symbols. I had my team start from scratch, using only Earth linguistics databases." He slid a tablet across the table. On it was a slightly different translation of the final line of the prophecy. The original translation read, "The final war foretold for millennia will bring peace to the galaxy." The new translation read, "The final war foretold for millennia will be against the upstart species from the blue world." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. "Earth is the blue world." Foster nodded grimly. "And we just invited them in." That moment, both of their phones chimed with an emergency alert. Captain Daniels, now aboard the Council's central station, had sent a coded message to select individuals on Earth. The message was brief. "They lied. Prophecy is about us. Prepare." Above them, more Council ships arrived in Earth's orbit every hour. To the celebrating crowds, they were a sign of friendship and new beginnings. To Samantha and Foster, looking up at the night sky now filled with foreign vessels, they looked increasingly like an invasion force. The final war foretold in their prophecy had begun, and humanity was its target. 5 years passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. Humans spread throughout nearby star systems, establishing colonies and trading posts. Most people embraced their new place in the galactic community. The Council provided technology that allowed faster-than-light travel, cured diseases, and ended resource shortages on Earth. To the average person, the future looked bright. Dr. Olivia Perez did not share this optimism. As a xenobiologist stationed on the Council homeworld of Centaura, she studied the biology of various alien species. Her lab received samples from across the galaxy, but recently she noticed something odd. The number of human tissue samples requested by Council scientists had increased dramatically. One night, working late in her lab, Olivia accessed a restricted database using credentials provided by a sympathetic Council researcher. What she found disturbed her. Dozens of classified research projects focused specifically on human adaptability, particularly how humans could survive in environments toxic to other species. "Why are they so interested in this?" she muttered to herself, downloading the files to her secure tablet. The answer came in a heavily encrypted document labeled Containment Protocols. It detailed methods to neutralize human biological advantages in various environments. Olivia's hands trembled as she read. This wasn't scientific curiosity. This was military research. Across the galaxy, similar discoveries were being made. Admiral Eric Daniels, promoted after years representing Earth in Council military operations, received a concerning report from his executive officer, Commander Kate Russell. "Sir, I've identified 17 restricted military zones where humans are explicitly forbidden," Kate said, pointing to a star map in his private quarters. "Could be sensitive cultural sites," Daniel suggested, though he didn't believe it himself. "That's what I thought initially," Kate replied. "But I had our intelligence team run an analysis. Every single one of these locations corresponds to strategic positions that could defend against an attack on Council space from Earth-controlled territories." Daniels stared at the map. They're creating a defensive line against us. Yes, sir. And there's more. Kate hesitated. Our surveillance drones detected massive fleet movements being disguised as training exercises. The Council is positioning warships near every major human settlement. Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonel William Foster had built a network of people who shared his suspicions about the Council. His office at Global Defense Command appeared normal, but beneath the surface he ran an extensive intelligence operation. His most valuable contact was Ben Hayes, a civilian contractor who worked on Council ships and had access to areas normally restricted to humans. Ben had smuggled out technical specifications of Council weapons systems and defensive capabilities. They're definitely preparing for something, Ben said during their latest meeting in a quiet corner of a busy New York restaurant. The shipyards are working overtime, producing vessels designed specifically for planetary bombardment. Foster nodded grimly. My sources in the diplomatic corps report the same. Council representatives are being quietly recalled from human worlds. There's something else, Ben added, leaning forward. I overheard two high-ranking officers discussing something called Prophecy Fulfillment Protocol. They mentioned a timeline of 3 months. Foster felt a chill. 5 years ago, he had warned about the mistranslated prophecy, but few had listened. Now time was running out. At the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva, President Ellen Garcia received an encrypted message on a private channel. The sender identified himself as Thrax, a member of a species called the Morax who served on the Council's inner circle. The prophecy is being used to manipulate species against each other, the message read. Many in the Council do not support the planned action against humanity, but we are being silenced. Prepare your defenses. You have weeks, not months. President Garcia immediately called an emergency meeting with Earth's military and intelligence leaders, including Foster. As they discussed the growing evidence of Council betrayal, an urgent communication came in from Admiral Daniels. His face on the screen looked haggard. Madam President, we've intercepted a Council Black Ops vessel. Near the New Terra colony, it was carrying planet-killing weapons. When questioned, they fired on my ship. We managed to disable them, but the Council is denying any knowledge of the mission. How long before they realize you've captured one of their ships? Foster asked. Hours, at most, Daniels replied. I've ordered all human ships in the sector to go to combat alert, but we're outnumbered. Admiral, get as many of our people out of Council space as you can, the President ordered. Colonel Foster, activate the Cassandra Protocol. Foster nodded grimly. The Cassandra Protocol was a contingency plan he had developed in secret. A network of sleeper cells and hidden resources prepared for exactly this scenario. On Centaura, Olivia Perez was preparing to smuggle her research findings back to Earth when alarms began blaring throughout the science complex. Armed Council security forces stormed into the labs, separating humans from other species. All humans are being detained by order of the High Council, announced the security chief. Do not resist. Olivia managed to send a partial data transmission before they confiscated her equipment. As they led her away, she saw other human scientists being rounded up. Back on Admiral Daniels' flagship, chaos erupted as Council vessels suddenly dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding them. They've locked weapons on us, reported the tactical officer. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Daniels ordered. Commander Russell, take the data we recovered and get to the escape shuttle. Someone needs to warn Earth. Sir, I can't just leave. That's an order, Commander. Earth needs to know what's coming. As Kate reluctantly headed for the shuttle bay, the first Council ships opened fire. On Earth, Foster watched with growing dread as communication channels with human outposts began going dark one by one. The Galactic Council had launched simultaneous attacks on all human settlements across the galaxy. President Garcia addressed the planet. Citizens of Earth, we are under attack. The Galactic Council has betrayed our trust and launched unprovoked attacks against human worlds. We have activated all defenses and recalled our ships. This is not a drill. But the defense grid, designed with Council assistance, failed completely during the initial assault. Council ships entered Earth orbit, unopposed. The final war foretold in prophecy had moved to its next phase. Humanity was fighting for survival. The sky over Earth burned. Council warships rained destruction on major cities while ground forces landed to secure strategic locations. 3 weeks into the attack, half the planet was under Council control. Lisa Martinez sat in a cold cell aboard the Council's massive command station. As Earth's chief diplomat, she had been immediately arrested when the attacks began. Through the small window in her cell, she could see other human representatives similarly imprisoned. Why? She had asked Zarthal when Council security came. For her. We had peace. The Council diplomat's pearlescent skin had dimmed to a flat gray. The prophecy must be fulfilled. Your species was always meant to be the enemy in the final war. Now Lisa spent her days gathering whatever information she could from guards and passing conversations. She learned that while Earth was being conquered, human colonies across the galaxy were being destroyed outright. On the other side of the station, Thrax, the Morax who had warned President Garcia, was also imprisoned. He had been discovered passing information to humans and branded a traitor. His punishment would be severe, but he didn't regret his actions. The genocide of an entire species violated everything the Council once stood for. Admiral Daniel's flagship had been destroyed in the initial attack, but not before he managed to warn several outlying colonies. His last order to Commander Kate Russell had saved her life and given humanity a fighting chance. Kate's escape shuttle reached the mining colony on Proxima Centauri B, where a small human settlement had so far escaped Council notice. From there, she transmitted the data they had recovered to all human outposts still standing. The Council has detailed files on every human settlement, she told the colonial leaders. But they don't know about the Category Black sites. Category Black sites were small, unofficial outposts established by paranoid military leaders like Foster, who never fully trusted the Council. Built in asteroids, on moons without valuable resources, or hidden in dense nebulae, these bases were off all official records. We need to gather everyone we can and disappear, Kate said. Then we rebuild. Within days, the surviving humans on Proxima Centauri evacuated to 3 separate Category Black sites. Just hours after the last transport left, Council warships reduced the colony to ash. On Earth, Colonel Foster had escaped the initial bombardment of military installations thanks to his underground command center. The Cassandra Protocol, named after the Greek prophet who was never believed, had been activated worldwide. Report, Foster said to his remaining staff as they gathered in the dimly lit bunker. Council forces have taken most major cities, replied his intelligence officer, but our resistance cells are active in all occupied zones. We're hitting their supply lines and communication hubs. Any word from President Garcia? A heavy silence filled the room. The presidential bunker had taken a direct hit on the second day. There were no survivors. Then we're on our own, Foster said. What about Dr. Collins and Dr. Wright? Were they recovered? Yes, sir. They arrived an hour ago and are waiting in Lab 3. Foster found Samantha Collins and Alan Wright examining the original Martian artifacts, which had been secretly moved to the bunker years earlier as part of the Cassandra Protocol. We've been reviewing everything, Samantha said without looking up. The prophecies weren't just predictions. What do you mean? Foster asked. Alan pointed to specific symbols on the tablet. These markings here, they're instructions, not warnings. The ancient species that left these artifacts wasn't trying to help future civilizations prepare for a natural disaster or external threat. They were providing a playbook, Samantha continued, a step-by-step guide for how to eliminate any species that might one day challenge the established galactic order. Foster stared at them. You're saying the Council has been following some ancient manual on how to commit genocide? Yes, Alan said. And humanity triggered the protocol by advancing too quickly. The Council races feared our rapid technological development and adaptability. The prophecy gave them moral justification, Samantha added. They believe they're fulfilling some cosmic destiny rather than just eliminating competition. Across the galaxy, surviving humans were learning similar truths. Dr. Olivia Perez had escaped detention during transport and found refuge with a group of alien scientists who opposed the Council's actions. Human biology shows remarkable adaptability, one of her alien colleagues explained. Your species can survive in environments that would kill most Council races. More importantly, you learn and innovate at a pace that frightens the older species. So they decided to wipe us out before we became too powerful? Olivia asked. The Council has eliminated threatening species before, another scientist said quietly, always using the prophecy as justification. On the Council's public channels, High Minister Valoran announced to the galaxy that the prophesied cleansing had begun. The speech was broadcast on all frequencies, including those monitored by human resistance forces. For millennia, our ancestors warned of the final conflict that would determine the fate of all civilized races, Valoran declared. The prophecy has guided our preparation, and now we fulfill our sacred duty to eliminate the human threat. Commander Russell, now coordinating between surviving human forces, watched the broadcast from a hidden base in the Kuiper Belt. She had gathered a small fleet of ships, mostly civilian vessels retrofitted with weapons and a few military ships, that escaped the initial attack. They're not even hiding it anymore, she said to her officers. At least now every human knows what we're fighting for. Her communication officer interrupted. Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's coded with Colonel Foster's signature. The message was brief but clear. Operation Phoenix initiating. All survivors report status and capability. We have discovered the true nature of the prophecy. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Across human space, the message repeated. Those who had lost hope found new determination. The resistance that had begun as desperate survival would become something more. The Council had started a war to fulfill an ancient prophecy. They believed it would end with humanity's extinction. They were wrong. The war had only just begun. 6 months after the initial attack, the human resistance had grown stronger than the Council expected. Hidden bases throughout the solar system and beyond housed the survivors. Earth remained under Council control, but their victory was incomplete. Humans proved harder to eradicate than any species they had previously targeted. Commander Kate Russell stood on the bridge of her flagship, a retrofitted cargo vessel now called the Defiance. Through skilled tactics and surprise attacks, her guerrilla fleet had destroyed dozens of Council ships and rescued thousands of humans from captured colonies. Status report, she ordered, as they drifted in the shadow of a gas giant, hiding from Council patrols. All systems running silent, Commander, her tactical officer replied. Council patrol ships are continuing on their scheduled route. They haven't detected us. Kate studied the tactical display. Her fleet now included 37 ships, a mixture of converted civilian vessels and stolen Council crafts. It wasn't much against the Council's thousands, but they were making an impact. The supply raid was successful, her executive officer added. We've redistributed food and medicine to all resistance outposts in this sector. Kate nodded. And the new weapons? Dr. Perez's modifications work better than expected. The biodisruptors specifically target Council physiology without harming humans or our alien allies. Dr. Olivia Perez had turned her xenobiological knowledge into a powerful weapon. By studying Council species' weaknesses, she developed countermeasures that gave human fighters an edge in close combat. What had once been research to help understand alien biology now helped humanity survive. On a distant mining moon, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper led a small resistance cell. His team had been hiding in abandoned tunnels, surviving on emergency rations and recycled water. Recently, they had made a discovery that could change everything. I still don't understand why it only works for us, Ryan said as he watched another human soldier activate an ancient device they had uncovered. The device, a metallic sphere covered in symbols similar to those found on Mars, glowed with soft blue light when touched by human hands. When their alien allies tried to activate it, nothing happened. It must recognize something in our genetic makeup, said the team's scientist. The technology is millions of years old, but somehow, it's programmed to respond to humans specifically. Ryan's team had found several such devices in ruins scattered across the moon. Each one, when activated, provided access to hidden chambers containing advanced technology far beyond even the Council's capabilities. "Keep searching," Ryan ordered. "And get everything we find back to Colonel Foster. If there are more of these devices out there, we need to find them before the Council does." Back on Earth, the Resistance fought a different kind of battle. General Diane Miller commanded the ground forces that still held parts of the Rocky Mountains and Appalachian regions. Her guerrilla fighters struck Council positions, then disappeared into wilderness areas or underground bunkers before retaliation came. "They control the cities and the skies," she told her officers during a meeting in their mountain hideout. "But they don't understand Earth's terrain like we do. Every day, more civilians escape to join us." One of her scouts arrived with news. "General, we intercepted a Council transmission. They're bringing in more troops, but that's not the important part. They're searching for something called the Nexus. They believe it's somewhere on Earth." Diane immediately contacted Colonel Foster's underground command center. If the Council wanted something on Earth badly enough to commit more forces, the Resistance needed to find it first. In the Council's command station, Lisa Martinez had managed the impossible: escape. With help from Thrax and other alien sympathizers who disagreed with the genocide, she had slipped out of detention during a power fluctuation. Now she moved through the station's service corridors following Thrax toward a communications hub. "Many Council species have begun questioning the war," Thrax whispered as they paused at a junction. "The High Ministers promised a quick victory, but human resistance has been far stronger than anyone predicted. Some are calling it a costly mistake." "How many aliens oppose the war?" Lisa asked. "More every day. The prophecy said the war was necessary to prevent galactic destruction, but destroying human worlds has caused economic collapse in several sectors. Trade routes are disrupted. Resources are being diverted to the military. Ordinary people are suffering." They reached the communications hub where a small group of alien technicians waited. All were members of the growing opposition movement within Council space. "We can get you to a transport leaving for the outer reaches," one of them told Lisa. "From there, you can reach human resistance forces." "I need to send a message first," Lisa said, "to Colonel Foster on Earth." In Foster's command center, Samantha Collins and Alan Wright continued their study of the Martian artifacts. For months, they had been cross-referencing the symbols with similar writings found on other worlds. "I think I found something," Samantha said, excitement in her voice. "Look at these coordinates hidden in the original excavation data. They point to a star system in a sector we never explored." "Could this be what the Council is looking for?" Alan asked. "This nexus they're searching for? It would explain why they're tearing apart Earth looking for clues. They think we found this location in the Martian ruins." Foster joined them, looking over the star chart. "We need to get there before they do, but how? We don't have ships that can travel that far, and the Council controls all the jump gates." At that moment, a technician rushed in. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from inside Council space. It's authenticated as coming from Lisa Martinez." The message appeared on their screen. "Foster, I'm alive. Significant Council opposition to war growing. Thrax says Council searching for weapon called Nexus, believed to be ultimate goal of prophecy. We'll try to rendezvous with Russell's fleet. Key information to follow." Attached to the message were technical specifications for Council jump gates and security protocols. "This could be our way to the coordinates," Samantha said. Foster nodded. "Send a message to all resistance cells. Phase 2 of Operation Phoenix begins now. We're going to find this nexus before the Council does." Across the stars, human resistance fighters received the call. The scattered forces that had been focused on survival began to unite with a new purpose. Lieutenant Cooper's discovery of the ancient technology that only humans could activate, Dr. Perez's biological countermeasures, Commander Russell's growing fleet, and the intelligence from Lisa Martinez and her alien allies, all pieces falling into place. The Council had started this war believing the prophecy guaranteed their victory. But prophecies could be misinterpreted. Maybe humanity wasn't meant to be the enemy in the final war. Maybe they were meant to be its solution. 1 year after the war began, the scattered human forces reunited under Operation Phoenix. Colonel Foster had coordinated everything from Earth, but now the time had come to leave. Their destination. The mysterious coordinates found in the Martian, ruins that might lead to the Nexus. Admiral Jack Howard, once a junior officer before the war, now commanded the largest human fleet assembled since the initial attack. 57 ships gathered at the edge of the solar system. Commander Russell's guerrilla fleet joined by vessels from hidden human outposts across the galaxy. All ships report ready, Admiral, his communications officer announced on the bridge of their flagship, the Redemption. Jack nodded. Begin jump sequence. Let's hope Martinez's codes work. The Council controlled all known jump gates, making long-distance travel impossible for the Resistance until now. Lisa Martinez had provided the security codes needed to use the gates without detection. If her information was accurate, they could reach the coordinates in days rather than years. The fleet entered the jump gate, disappearing in flashes of blue light. When they emerged on the other side, a chorus of gasps filled the Redemption's bridge. Before them hung a massive structure, a perfect sphere the size of Earth's moon, made of a dark material that seemed to absorb light. "Is that the Nexus?" Jack asked. "Scans indicate it's artificial," replied his science officer. "And ancient, far older than any known civilization." "Admiral, we're detecting Council ships approaching," the tactical officer interrupted. "A lot of them. They must have followed us through the gate." Jack turned to his crew. "Prepare for battle. All ships defensive formation. Let's buy our landing team enough time to reach that sphere." On the main transport heading toward the Nexus, Ryan Cooper checked his team's equipment one last time. After discovering the ancient technology that responded only to humans, he had been selected to lead the mission inside the sphere. "Remember, we don't know what we'll find in there," he told his team. "But whatever the Nexus is, the Council is willing to commit genocide to control it." Beside him, Samantha Collins and Alan Wright studied the structure through the viewport. After years researching the prophecy, they were about to see its true purpose firsthand. The symbols on its surface match those from Mars, Samantha noted. This is definitely what the ancients were pointing to. As their transport approached, a section of the sphere opened like an iris, revealing a docking bay inside. "It's inviting us in," Alan whispered. Once inside, Ryan's team moved through massive corridors lit by strips of blue light that activated as they approached. Nothing happened when their alien allies walked ahead, but the lights instantly responded to human presence. "Just like the devices we found," Ryan said. "This entire structure is keyed to human biology somehow." They reached a central chamber where a holographic display activated as they entered. Symbols and star maps appeared, swirling around them. "I can read it?" Alan said with surprise. "It's using the same language as the Martian artifacts, but somehow, I understand it now. It's communicating directly with my mind." The hologram began showing images, planets forming, civilizations rising and falling, and a terrifying force consuming entire worlds. "It's a historical record," Samantha realized, "showing us the past." The images continued, revealing an ancient civilization fighting against a hive mind species that spread like a plague across the galaxy. After a devastating war, the ancients managed to contain this enemy in a pocket dimension, sealed away from normal space. The prophecy wasn't about humanity being a threat, Alan translated as text appeared. It was about humanity being the solution. Our unique genetic makeup allows us to control this technology, which was created to keep the ancient enemy imprisoned. "Then why did the Council attack us?" Ryan asked. "Because they misinterpreted the prophecy," Samantha answered. "They thought preventing the final war meant eliminating humanity, but the prophecy actually warned that humanity needed to be ready when the final war came against the real enemy." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the structure. The hologram showed the seal between dimensions weakening. "The Council's attack on Earth triggered ancient defense systems," Alan read. "Systems designed to alert humanity about the containment, failing. By trying to destroy us, they've accidentally released what the ancients were protecting against." Outside, the battle between human and Council ships paused as a massive tear appeared in space. Something was coming through. Dark ships, with organic-looking hulls, unlike anything either humans or the Council had seen before. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Nexus," reported Jack's communications officer. Ryan's face appeared on screen. Admiral, the Nexus isn't a weapon. It's a repository of knowledge and technology left to help us fight the real enemy. The Council's actions have broken the seal holding back an ancient hive mind species. They're coming through now. Those ships coming through the rift, Jack said, watching as more appeared. That's the enemy? Yes. And they'll consume every living thing in the galaxy. Humans, Council species, everyone. The ancients created this technology to fight them, but only humans can activate it. Back on the Council command station, High Minister Valoran watched in horror as reports came in from across Council space. The dark ships had appeared near multiple worlds, attacking indiscriminately. This cannot be happening, Valoran whispered. The prophecy said eliminating the humans would prevent the final war. Lisa Martinez, who had been brought before the High Minister after being recaptured, spoke quietly. You misunderstood. Humanity wasn't the threat. We were meant to be the guardians. As Council worlds fell one by one, Valoran made the most difficult decision in Council history. A message was sent to all human forces, an offer of alliance against the greater threat. At the Nexus, Ryan's team had discovered how to activate the ancient defense systems. Platforms across the galaxy, dormant for millions of years, began powering up as humans connected to them through the technology only they could use. Admiral Howard received the Council's message for alliance. Despite everything, he knew there was only one choice. Tell them we accept, he ordered. Today we fight together or we all die separately. The combined human and Council forces faced the ancient enemy in a desperate battle for survival. The technology from the Nexus gave them weapons capable of harming the hive mind ships, but the enemy was vast and powerful. In the final confrontation, Colonel Foster, who had joined Ryan at the Nexus, activated the central control system. Energy surged from the sphere, connecting to all the ancient platforms across the galaxy. A network of power designed millions of years ago specifically for human hands to control, finally fulfilled its purpose. The tear between dimensions closed, cutting off the hive mind from its main force. The remaining enemy ships were destroyed by the combined fleet. Afterward, as humans and Council species stood together amid the debris of battle, the true meaning of the prophecy became clear to all. The final war foretold will be fought alongside humanity, the guardians against darkness. A new galactic order emerged from the ashes of conflict, not with humanity conquered, but with all species united by surviving together against extinction. The war foretold in prophecy had indeed come, but it had ended not with humanity's destruction, but with their discovery of their true place among the stars.